This is a Gear Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Mr. Perez, and you're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, brought to you exclusively on Gear Network. Listen in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Episode 32 of the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
I just messed up the windscreen, man.
I see that. You're having fun with it.
32.
You mean to help you?
Episode
you
32.
talk while I fix it.
You know what? I hit it accidentally, and now it's all crooked. There we go. That was easy. That wasn't that bad.
You got to grab the top of it and bend it, because that metal thing is really weird.
I see that. Normally, I don't like grabbing the top and bending it. That hurts.
In most situations, it does, yeah.
Just throw that out there.
That is correct, yeah. Welcome back to the podcast. How you feeling?
I feel fine, man.
You
Last
look better.
Saturday sucked.
Yeah, you look a lot better. You sound a lot better, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, thanks. Oh, dude, last Saturday.
I'm not
sucked.
hitting on you. Don't worry. Yeah, I can imagine, because usually it doesn't. It takes a lot to put you out, and
yeah.
When you're out, I was like, oh
I
crap.
couldn't even move for most of the day. It was just dumb.
Well, I'm sure you heard the podcast last week. It was tough. The first half was just me talking, and I sat here in the Wolf Den studio, and I recorded the podcast, and I texted John, and I was really hoping he was able to do something, and he's like, "Good time, you caught me. I can do it." And I'm like, "Thank God," because I was
right
as I'm talking and going through. I'm just saying stuff, and I'm like,
right.
What am I doing? What am I saying? What is going on right now?
Well, I'm glad to be here. Glad to be back.
Yeah, glad to have you back. I know we're kind of on a time crunch today.
We are.
Things are going to be a little different. I have to go get a tattoo. I have to do it. It's been like 4 years since I've got a tattoo. Today really worked itself out, and we're all going to, my sister, brother, and myself, we're going to go get tattoos today. But
that's pretty cool. It's been a while since I've gotten my last one. It's really time for me to get one.
Well, today it was kind of funny, because as John always tells me, today we were on Lewis Standard Time.
That's right.
It happens. It's all good. You've been on time for I can't like a month and a half, 2 months. You get a day every so often where you can say I'll be there in a half hour, and you're there in an hour and a half.
Well, you know what? No, I was going to be on time, but my dad he recently announced his candidacy for Rochester School Board.
I did see that.
And we had a meeting today, just kind of hashing some stuff out, putting the team together.
Are you like head of security?
Right? No. That might be my role. Who knows? But no, we had to meet with a bunch of other leaders, and decide who's going to be on the team, what roles they're going to have,
like House of Cards, kind of.
Right.
That's pretty
exactly.
Cool.
So,
speaking of that, please no spoilers on Twitter. No spoilers. I'm only 4 episodes in.
I don't watch it, so feel free.
3.
I don't care.
It's a lot of fun.
Is it?
That show, stuff like that gets me. I love it. But this week we don't have a news bumper. We don't have a funny thing like last week, or last week it was cheesy. That's why I put it up. It sounded terrible though.
Okay.
And the music, it just wasn't working out. It was just both sides. It just was bad news. So we're working on a bumper now, but we're just unceremoniously going to transfer over to the news you need to know right now. Starting off with the NBA.
Well, we haven't even introduced ourselves.
We don't have to.
We don't have to? They should know who we are by now.
I think I said you were Perez, so people know you're Perez. They should know I'm Ryan Wolf.
Right.
You're Mr. Perez.
That's right. They should know us by now.
They should know us. I mean, it's 32 episodes.
Right. Unless you're new.
Well, if they don't know us.
If you're new, then thank you for coming in.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, Canada. Thank you for listening.
Hi, Canada.
If you don't know us by now, you should.
That's right.
Starting off with the NBA, Thunder's forward Kevin Durant undergoes a foot procedure to relieve. I don't know why I wrote receive. Probably because it was 2 a.m. when I wrote the podcast. Breaking the fourth wall. To relieve discomfort, apparently they had to put a new screw in or switch a screw up. He's out at least a week. DEFCON 4, whatever you want to say, in Chicago, Derrick Rose tore his right medial meniscus, but because he's already tore his knee multiple times, he's only going to miss 4 to 6 weeks this time, instead of missing a year.
Right.
So I guess that's a positive, but a negative, because he screwed his knee up, but he's only going to miss 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, he's I feel bad for the guy, because he's an awesome talent. He's had tons of knee problems, and once you weaken one, I mean, it just keeps getting weaker and
Especially
weaker.
basketball.
Right.
It's like Greg Oden. The guy had all the talent in the world, but his knees were just glass.
So we'll see what happens.
Kings point guard Darren Collison out for the year. He'll be getting hip surgery, I believe, sometime this week. And 2 sad stories out of the NBA this week. First off, the first ever African-American NBA player, Earl Lloyd, passes away at age 86.
Rest in peace.
And this morning, on Saturday, it comes across the wire that ex-Knicks Ex-New York Knicks power forward Anthony Mason passes away at 48 due to congestive heart failure.
That's really too bad, too.
Good basketball player.
He was.
Very good basketball player. Moving over to Major League Baseball now. Perez, you have a moment. You're allowed to be butthurt here.
Well, hold on a second. While we're talking about dead people...
Oh, God. That's a good way to transition.
I just want to say rest in peace to Leonard Nimoy.
Absolutely.
You know, he made Spock really cool. And even though the original Star Trek was only on TV for only like 3 or 4 actual seasons,
yeah,
you know, it's lived on in the hearts of tons of people. And Leonard Nimoy will always be, you know, Spock to them, even though he had a very successful career outside of that. You know, so to everyone listening, live long and prosper.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to know something crazy?
What's up?
I've never watched a full episode of Star Trek in my life.
Never?
Never. I've seen parts because one of my old friends, his dad used to watch it all the time. It was kind of interesting, but I never watched a full episode.
Have you seen the movies?
No.
None of them?
None of them.
Even the last ones?
Even the last ones.
The last ones are freaking awesome.
Never seen it. Maybe I'll have to watch them.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have to start and go backwards. I don't know.
Well, you're young. I can forgive it. Not too much, but I can forgive it.
Yeah, well, it's not like I'm sitting here saying I've never seen, I don't know, something that happens now. You're like, are you serious, bro?
That happens, though.
Yeah, well,
that happens.
Some people do still live under a rock. Even though
oh, yeah, man.
Moving over to Major League Baseball now, the Boston Red Sox nab Yoan Moncada. At this point in time, he is the top Red Sox prospect and 10th in Major League Baseball. He's a phenomenal talent.
Yes.
And I can see that you're kind of getting that look on your face.
Hey, man, it's all good. It's all good.
Well, the Red Sox won a little more than the Yankees would have, so
right.
I don't know what the Yankees are doing, but...
I don't think the Yankees know what they're doing at this point.
The Red Sox are loading up. They're betting big right now that the young bats are going to be the future of the team.
Yeah.
Because in this day and age of Major League Baseball, you can get good pitching. You can't get good hitting.
Right.
So they're betting that Moncada will become... They're saying that comparable is Robinson Cano. But he may not play second base. He's an infielder. But the Red Sox obviously have Dustin Pedroia at second and Xander Bogaerts at short.
And meanwhile, the Yankees have...
Yeah, the infield is packed.
Right. And meanwhile, the Yankees have A-Rod back. Yay.
Well, speaking of that, he proclaimed his cleanliness. And it says he's open to playing any position this season. Do you see Alex Rodriguez playing
any
in
position?
the field? Yeah, any position.
No.
I think he DHs.
Yes.
Maybe plays first base.
Possibly.
Maybe. That's a big maybe.
If Tex is hurt or tired.
Which, well, as we've seen, he's hurt
Which happens a lot.
You know what's really funny? I saw some on Twitter this week that someone, I can't remember the name, the guy pointed it out, but for the past 3 out of 4 years, baseball, hardball talk or whatever it is on NBC has written an article about Mark Teixeira being in the best shape of his life for 3 out of 4 years. How can you be in the best shape out of your life every single year? Every year, it's because that's the best. My favorite part about spring training, you always hear the stories about player X, player Y, player Z, best shape of their life.
And then, like the first week, they get hurt.
It always cracks me up.
Yep, best shape. Whatever.
Speaking of good shape, you're just helping me with these transitions today.
You're welcome.
Phenomenal.
That's what I'm here for.
It's good to have you back. CC Sabathia has blown up to 305 pounds. Is that a good move? I
feel like he needed to. I feel like when he lost weight, he lost velocity, he lost some of his stuff. I don't think he had it. I think he's put on some weight and it's going to be a good move for him.
But when he lost the weight, he started to have knee problems. So do you believe he'll still have knee problems now that he put weight back on because of the
No, I think his knees will be back to what they're used to. They'll be like, we can finally support him again. Awesome.
It's a good way to look at it, I guess. The Baltimore Orioles sign infielder Everett Cabrera. Detroit re-signs pitcher Jabba Chamberlain. The Chicago Cubs, continuing with the Red Sox theme, hire Manny Ramirez and Kevin Youkilis in different advisory roles. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim's outfielder Josh Hamilton is facing a possible suspension after a relapse that has possibly included cocaine and alcohol.
That's a shame.
It is. He's a talent, but he's had a lot of problems in his life. Hopefully he gets it figured out and gets. Don't worry about baseball. Just get your life back on track because
if you're listening to us out there, which we know you do because we see the numbers.
Absolutely.
Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Okay?
If you're going to do drugs, call somebody. Talk to someone. They'll talk you out of it.
Once it gets a grip on people, they just can't.
Exactly.
A lot of times shake it. It's something that will control your life. So don't do drugs.
Drugs are bad, okay?
Okay.
Toronto's Michael Saunders is taking the cake so far for the craziest spring training story. He will miss 5 to 6 weeks. Had his left meniscus removed after he tore his knee on a sprinkler divot.
A sprinkler divot?
Yeah, he was shagging fly balls, and there was a divot in the ground where a sprinkler was, and he tore his knee.
That sucks.
That's the crazy spring training story so far.
So far.
Well, I heard something this morning. I didn't look into it much, but a guy who plays for Tampa is going to miss 5 to 6 weeks after having a issue getting out of a pool. I don't know. There was no more details. He just got hurt getting out of a pool.
I'd like to look more into that one.
Spring training is all about. It's not about the. It's like the spring training is like the NFL Combine for Major League Baseball. Like this morning, I woke up, the Red Sox tweeting videos out of practicing sliding into bases. Like, whatever. I look for the crazy stories and guys that are in the best shape of their life because every year, never fails. Spring training always provides the lulls.
They were sliding into bases?
Yeah, they're practicing how to. They're
slide?
They're making sure they have their sliding down properly.
So long as you're not actually sliding head first into the base.
No. Francisco Rodriguez re-signs with Milwaukee. He had 44 saves for the Brewers in 2014. Toronto signs Johan Santana. He's attempting a comeback after trying to overcome multiple shoulder issues. Juan Pierre announced his retirement this week.
Yeah, I saw that. After
time,
13 years?
Yeah.
13 seasons?
He's fast dude. That's for sure.
Right.
Atlanta Braves, Melvin Upton Jr., B.J. Upton Jr. for B.J. Upton, I should say, for those of you who did not catch that, he switched his name to his actual legal name of Melvin Upton Jr. He is out 6 to 8 weeks with a foot injury. He said he's in a walking boot right now, and then he'll be reevaluated in a few weeks, and they'll go from there.
Okay.
Moving over to the National Football League, Cowboys linebacker Rolando McClain's facing a 4-game ban after he failed a drug test, reportedly. The Arizona Cardinals extend general manager Steve Keim and coach Bruce Arians to the 2018 season. Adrian Peterson reportedly wants out of Minnesota. His agent was said to have gotten in a fight with one of the most powerful men on the team in the front office. A verbal fight, not a physical fight. And then this week with the ruling came out that he was reinstated by a judge, and then the appeal came across that he was not reinstated. But everything Adrian Peterson has said recently has not included any thanks to the Vikings, any relation. He's not partnered himself with the Vikings at all, so it looks like he's trying to distance himself from that franchise. And his father already said that he's looking to go to Dallas, Arizona, or I think Indianapolis. I think. For some reason, I keep thinking Indianapolis. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. But I know Arizona and Dallas were two of the teams. A funny story that I read this week on the NFL.
Okay.
Patriots quarterback Tom Brady wants to be like Dwayne Johnson. He wants to be an actor post-NFL. Now, he was in the movie Stuck on You as a I think his official title in the movie was like Geeky Nerd or something like that. But he wants to be an actor. I mean, he's got the look. He's got the the following behind him. I mean, he was in Entourage, but Entourage is more like a real life show, so you don't really have to act. I don't think that much.
Right.
So maybe we'll see Tom Brady in like Thor or something in 15 years. I don't know.
I
don't know.
I got nothing for you, man. Because listen, just because you have the look doesn't mean you're a good actor.
Well, maybe he's a good actor. Maybe he's just...
Dwayne Johnson's actually a good actor.
He's a really good actor, yeah.
So...
Did you catch the Combine this week?
I did.
Did you see UConn's cornerback Byron Jones? 12 foot, 3-inch broad jump.
That was stupid.
Ridiculous.
And his vertical leap was dumb.
Yeah. He's gonna get drafted high just because he did really good at the Combine.
Yeah, that was a sick broad jump.
It works.
I don't really know how that's applicable to skills that you're going to use in the NFL.
Well, that's one thing they mentioned this week, that the competition committee's talking about changing up the Combine. So, like, for instance, an offensive lineman, you only need to see his 20-yard dash, so you'll do a 20-yard dash. But wide receivers and cornerbacks do a 60-yard dash because you want to see how fast they can get downfield.
Right.
So they might change things up in the future, but right now it's just kind of a dick swinging contest at this point. You know, that's all the Combine is at this point. Seattle's Earl Thomas undergoes surgery to fix his torn labrum in his shoulder. He's out 6 to 8 months. Cleveland releases their new look logo. Hilarious because
it was the same logo.
It's the same logo.
Just a little brighter.
Just a different shade of Cleveland brown. The Indianapolis Colts extend quarterback Matt Hasselbeck for 1 year in the hardest job in the league, backing up Andrew Luck, who's, unless he gets hurt, is not going to be benched. Chargers, Jarrett Johnson, and Tennessee Titans Michael Roos retire this week. Ex-Jets general manager John Idzik, hired by the Jacksonville Jaguars in a consultant role. Ex-Buccaneers quarterback Josh McCown gets a 3-year deal from the Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Yes.
He's 35 years old. He went 1-10 last season. He's only had one decent season when he was in Chicago with a good offense and a good defense. Buffalo Bills, they kind of dodged a bullet because they didn't get McCown.
Right.
But they still need a quarterback, so they still didn't really dodge a bullet. But I'd rather not have Josh McCown be the starting quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah.
Also, Inglewood approves a new Rams stadium. After last week, we found out that the Chargers and Raiders potentially have a stadium going up in California, in Los Angeles, I should say. This is going to get ugly quick because it's a lot of posturing at this point.
At this point, that's a ton of posturing, and it'll be weird to see like all these teams want to go to L.A.
Yeah,
like L.A. is. For all intents and purposes, when you hear about sports fan in L.A., they're horrible sports fans.
They're horrible people.
I mean,
not just fans; they're horrible people.
They love the basketball. They go to the basketball games, but when there was a team, when the Raiders were in L.A., like the crowds were never there.
I feel like they've done their homework and they realize it's a big TV market. There's a lot of money there. They can put the Super Bowl there a lot.
Right.
They'll make it worth their while. But it's going to be interesting to see if St. Louis gets there or if the Chargers and the Raiders end up there, or if maybe we get a Rams-Raiders stadium. I do know this. Oakland may not even end up in Los Angeles. Oakland may end up somewhere else.
Right.
Because there's something going on, I believe, in the next 30 days we'll find out about their lease. And they can start the process of moving shortly.
Right.
So as long as they have a place to play, they don't care.
It'll be weird not to have the Raiders in Oakland, though.
It will be, but Oakland won't build them a new stadium. They won't give them taxpayer money to build a new stadium.
Which is stupid of Oakland.
Well, that stadium they play in now is disgusting.
I know.
I mean, that's
the black hole.
Well, that's where last year where the Athletics obviously play there, and that's last year where they had, I think, a 3-foot sewage backup in the dugout.
Right.
They had to postpone a game for a couple hours because there was
sewage,
feces and excrement in the dugout.
Awesome.
Now moving over to
Isn't that like every dugout?
Yeah. The Yankees, more like the Yankees dugout.
Hater.
A long list of cuts in the NFL this week. I'm going to just start off at the top. The Carolina Panthers cut D'Angelo Williams. Ricky Jean-Francois gets cut by the Colts and then goes and signs in Washington. Arizona cuts Ted Ginn Jr. Matthias Kiwanuka gone from the Giants. Peyton Hillis also gone from the Giants. Baltimore gets rid of Jacoby Jones. A.J. Hawk let go by the Packers. Reggie Bush cut by the Lions. Kendall Langford gone in St. Louis. Steven Jackson gone in Atlanta. Tyvon Branch out in Oakland. Harry Douglas gone from Atlanta. Brian Hartline gone in Miami. Barry Cofield and Stephen Bowen gone from Washington. Todd Harriman's out in Philadelphia. Chris Canty gone from Baltimore. Darnell Dockett in Arizona is gone. Jonathan Massaquoi in Atlanta. And Stevie Johnson is gone in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's a lot of cuts.
A lot of big names.
Yeah, that it really is. I wonder how many will just switch up teams.
A lot of guys probably will get a small deal.
Right.
I'll prove yourself deal, or maybe some guys will get a big deal.
Right.
I mean, we'll find out. We'll see. I'm trying to speed this up over here because I know we're going to hit 20 minutes and I don't want to start echoing real fast.
It's all good.
Moving over to the NASCAR really quick. Joey Logano wins the Daytona 500 after a last lap crash. Throws out the caution. I'm kind of bummed about that because Kevin Harvick, my dude, was getting close to winning the race. Had a shot. They threw the caution flag in turn 3. And I'm like, son of a...
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
You know what I know about NASCAR?
They turn left a lot.
Yes.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say that.
Exactly what I know about NASCAR.
David Reagan takes over for Kyle Busch in the 18 car for the immediate future. Obviously, last week we mentioned that Kyle Busch had a compound fracture of his right leg and a broken left foot. He's had both of those fixed. He's home now, but obviously he's out for the indefinite future.
Right.
There's talk that Reagan will race a handful of races in the 18 car, and then Eric Jones, who currently races Truck Series for Joe Gibbs will take over the 18 car. Keep you posted on that one. Crazy story out of Atlanta this week real quick. The 44 car driven by Travis Kvapil was stolen.
Yes.
And found in the woods this morning, actually, Saturday morning. What had happened apparently is they were driving the hauler to Atlanta, got stuck in a storm, and something was wrong with the hauler. They couldn't just get the hauler through. So they grabbed like a small Featherline trailer that you could put one car and hooked it up to a truck and drove down to the hotel. Apparently about 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, someone came up, unhooked the trailer, hooked it up to their car, and left with the car. So Travis Kvapil had to back out of the race.
I could see those redneck NASCAR fans like, yeah, guess what car I got? Yeah.
Well, there's a lot. There's like $100,000 worth of equipment plus the
I'm gonna race this.
Yeah. Well, they found the car parked in the woods.
I'm gonna take this down to the Piggly Wiggly.
You go on Twitter and look up the Travis Kvapil, KVAPIL, or just Google it. I'm sure you'll.
Honey, guess whose car I got?
You see, it's very hard to steal a car, let alone a car that has decals all over it and someone else's name on it, you moron. Moving over to UFC real quick.
I sure like Tide.
UFC 188 was announced. The big main event here, Cain Velasquez versus Fabricio Verdum for the UFC Undisputed Heavyweight Championship.
Cool.
That'd be a great fight. Those guys throw.
I'm looking forward to seeing Ronda Rousey against Kat Zingano.
Tonight, I can't wait. We'll talk about that next week, but that's going to be a damn good fight because if Ronda Rousey wins, Chris Cyborg, who won her fight the night before, said, I'm going to be there.
Right.
I want to make this fight happen. I want to fight Ronda Rousey. I think Ronda Rousey would snap her arm in half.
As long as Cyborg is off the drugs.
Well, yeah, she's
kind of scary.
She's built out of like a slab of concrete.
Yeah, she's kind of scary.
And last but not least, first off, Perez, yes or no, are you excited for Mayweather and Pacquiao?
How could I not be?
Okay. That's all I need to know.
I can't stand May. I hope Pacquiao knocks him out.
I sent this to you this week, but I'm going to mention it on the air. You need a $250,000 line of credit with the MGM Grand just to be considered for purchase of tickets.
That's just
ringside
stupid.
Tickets. Yeah. So you have to have a huge line of credit with them and then
Right.
go spend probably another $250,000
Right.
just to get a ticket for this fight.
That's just dumb.
This fight is going to be one of the biggest fights in the history of boxing.
Absolutely.
Money-wise and hype-wise, and I mean HBO and Showtime are collaborating to put it on both pay-per-views. It's going to be
dumb.
I can't wait to see it.
They're saying $300 million plus.
Especially if they have a good
Kate
undercard.
Yeah. Hopefully the undercards will be real good.
That'll be a great night. So, gonna shoot it over to commercial break right now. Unfortunately, this week, like I said, we have a what's the truncated podcast.
Truncated, yes.
No hello, no story. I mean, if Perez wants to say
Well, you
hello,
said hello.
Perez can say hello. Who do you want to say hello to?
Well, we'll say hello. We come back from the break.
Fine. When we come back, Perez says hello to someone. Again, no story time. We do apologize. But we're going to talk to NHL coming up because a lot of trades, a lot of action this week. Deadline's coming up Monday. It's going to be crazy. Stick around for more Better Live Than Dead podcast right after this. While you're listening to this podcast, make sure you follow us on social media. You can follow me at WolfSHC on Twitter. You can also follow Mr. Perez at MRLG Perez. Make sure to like the podcast on Facebook. That's facebook.com/BLTD podcast. And make sure to follow Gear Network on Twitter at GERE Network.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Hi, Gear Network listeners. The February song of the month was selected by Better Live Than Dead's Ryan Wolf. It is Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson featuring Bruno Mars. And if you like this song, you can purchase it through our Gear Network link from both Amazon and iTunes. Right now, if you head to GearNetwork.com, you can sign up for a free 30-day trial of Amazon Prime, which includes Prime Music. You'll be able to listen to this and other songs from Amazon Music's vast collection of songs as often as you would like. Or if you just want to download the song, you can purchase it for $1.29 on both Amazon and iTunes right from our website. Your purchase continues to support our free programming. Remember, that is GearNetwork.com, powered by Amazon and iTunes.
This free and independent sportscast is made possible when you shop the Gear Network store through Amazon. Visit GearNetwork.com and click on the Amazon banner to shop through Amazon's thousands of products at great prices delivered right to your front door. Again, that's GearNetwork.com and click the Amazon banner at the top.
Hey, come on, man. Wake up.
back here on the Better Live Than Dead podcast, yelling into one microphone because
due to technical difficulties,
my other microphone, I don't know if it's my microphone that stopped working or if it was just my computer that blew up, but something stopped working shortly after we went to commercial break.
which is kind of crazy because
It made a noise,
everything was working perfectly. It made a noise.
and then I went to record, and it sounded like a cat trying to have sex with a vacuum cleaner, I guess is the best way to put it. It sounded horrible.
Yes, it was not nice.
Now, Perez, before we move on to NHL, who do you want to say hello to today?
This week, I'm saying hello.
Mind you, my computer's still blowing up.
I see that. I hear it. This week, I'm saying hello to Lady Gaga.
Okay.
You know what? I mean...
And why would you do such a thing?
Well, because I got to be honest with you. Over the last several years, she's actually matured. She's actually really pretty. She has really good talent, surprisingly. Her performance at the Oscars was epic.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I thought that's why you were saying it, because that was phenomenal.
It really was.
Great.
And actually, that's not why.
Okay.
It's her collaboration with Tony Bennett. The jazz album is phenomenal. And she's actually a really good jazz singer. And also, she has a phenomenal arse.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very nice.
That booty is beautiful. She has a great booty.
I love how you have the photo
ready for you?
ready to go.
Yeah, well,
ready
you
to
know.
go.
Trying to give you the visuals as soon as I say who I say hi to.
Well, I appreciate it.
No problem.
It makes me understand a lot more, you know.
Right.
And I'll make sure to take a video of our setup right now, because I'm like almost cuddling with Perez as we're podcasting right now.
Got my arm around him. We got some popcorn.
Got the mood lighting set.
Exactly.
Heat set to 69.
My favorite number.
Someone had to say it. Moving over to the National Hockey League now, the New York Islanders re-signed defenseman Nick Leddy, who they acquired from the Chicago Blackhawks in the offseason, to a 7-year contract extension.
7 year.
By and far,
Wow.
advanced stats show he's been their best defenseman this season.
Right.
Leaps and bounds, like off the page, anything you could throw at it, that's what he is.
7 years still seems like a long time.
He's 23 years old, I believe.
Oh,
So
he'll be good.
He's a kid.
Yeah.
Yuri Sakach goes to Anaheim. Devontae Smith-Pelly goes to the Canadiens. Jordan Nolan and Kyle Clifford agree to a contract extension with the Kings. Chicago forward Pat Kane is out 12 weeks.
That's a long time.
After breaking his collarbone.
That sucks.
Yeah, it did not look very good. It wasn't a dirty hit. It was just a kind of a... Kane slipped as he went to play the puck, and the guy checked him as he slipped, and he just went kind of collarbone, shoulder first into the boards, and instantly you knew it was a bad injury.
I can't imagine that feels good.
No, it didn't look like it felt very good.
I would not want that injury.
Vancouver goaltender Ryan Miller, fan favorite around here, out 4 to 6 weeks, sprained his knee after he was taken out by his own player accidentally.
That sucks.
It does suck because he missed his homecoming this week. The Canucks played the Sabres. It would have been a big deal. He would have been crazy. People everywhere would have been so happy.
Right.
Instead, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. I was trying to figure out what that noise was. It was your phone.
Yes,
I thought I was echoing, and I'm like, I can't echo and like...
No, it was my phone.
Going crazy over here. Seattle may be closer to getting a National Hockey League team after the mayor says they are willing to adjust the memorandum of understanding that the city made. Originally, they said they would build an arena only if it was basketball first, but they had to get a team first. But it doesn't look like they're going to get a team anytime soon.
Right.
So now if someone comes to Seattle and says, well, hey, I've got a hockey team, or I've got an expansion franchise, because they're talking about expanding to Las Vegas.
Right.
You expand to Las Vegas, you expand to Seattle, you make everybody happy.
Keep it even.
But you get someone with a team. If someone says, hey, I got a team, they'll say, okay, we'll adjust it so we'll build an arena. Because, like, for instance, the Islanders are going to play at the Barclays Center starting next season. That's a basketball-first arena, so everything's going to be off-center.
Right.
It's going to look goofy. But you can play basketball in a hockey arena, but it's kind of hard to play hockey in a basketball arena, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it'd be a big deal if they can make that work out, because Seattle really deserves a hockey team, I think, at this point.
Sure.
It's a great market.
Yeah.
Plus, it give me another reason to go to Seattle.
That's a true story.
I want to go to Seattle pretty bad. As mentioned before the break, the NHL trade deadline coming up on Monday, but teams are not waiting around to make deals. Sean Bergenheim this week headed to Minnesota. Andrei Sekera to the Kings. Yuri Toulouse went to Winnipeg. Daniel Winnick to Pittsburgh. Adam Cracknell to St. Louis. TJ Brennan to Toronto. Jaromir Jagr, a Florida Panther.
Right.
Very, very weird. He makes his debut this afternoon against the Buffalo Sabres with the Panthers.
That is weird.
It's crazy. I think
he's been around forever.
He's 43.
I know.
It's here's something for you. He has been in the league longer than the Florida Panthers have been a franchise.
That's hilarious.
I think it's crazier that he is still at 43 years old a serviceable. He's slow because he's 43.
He's 43,
but he's a serviceable NHL player
right.
at age 43. That's amazing.
You know, I've seen him in his prime when he was with the Penguins back in the Igloo.
Many moons ago.
I
was a wee child then.
Right. Many moons ago.
You were a child then.
No,
correct?
Not really. I was older.
Older?
I mean, I'm not old.
Perez is 75 years old, everybody.
I'm not old by any means, but
he remembers the first time ice hockey happened.
I was there.
Exactly.
No, I wasn't. I'm Puerto Rican. I'd be on the island, bro. I can't stand this cold stuff.
If they can find a way to play ice hockey on the beach, Perez is there. Kimmo Timonen has not played at all this season due to blood clots with the Flyers, but he was dealt to the Blackhawks. And then there was a deal that came across the board a couple days ago. David Clarkson for Nathan Horton. Crazy thing about this. Nathan Horton has a degenerative back issue. When he signed with the Blackhawks, why did I say Blackhawks? Blue Jackets. When he signed with the Blue Jackets, they knew he had a back problem.
Okay.
But he could play through it.
Right.
It got worse once he started playing in Columbus, to the point where he needs to have his spine fused in multiple spots. It'll end his career. So right now he's got like 5 years, I think $26 or $27 million left on that deal.
Okay.
So he'll sit out, and he won't retire because if he retires, he doesn't get paid.
Right.
Excuse me. So he'll sit out for 5 more years, get paid, and then he'll go retire. But Columbus, being a small market, cannot afford to pay that.
Right.
Because they essentially have to pay two guys. They have to pay Horton, and then they have to pay another guy to fill his spot.
Right.
Where Toronto signed David Clarkson, about the same deal. They owe him about $30 million, a little under $30 million. But the thing about that is Clarkson is not a good player. He's not. He came from New Jersey, where he was a good player, decent player, and Toronto overpaid for him, and he's been a disappointment. So Toronto moved his contract to Columbus. So Columbus says, we'll take on the same contract we have almost for a guy who can actually play. And Toronto says, well, we'll take this guy from you because we have the money to pay a guy to not play hockey. Now, and it doesn't serve Toronto any benefit unless Toronto is up against the cap, because you can't get the long-term injury reserve
right.
$5.3 million cap benefit unless you are less than $5.3 million to the cap.
Okay.
So really, they just said, we'll take this guy on. In the next 5 years, we'll probably be up against the cap. So, whatever.
Right.
Who cares? It's a very interesting deal.
That's crazy.
Now, I want to say real quick, before we go to commercial break, because we're going to cut this segment kind of short, I will be at the First Niagara Center on Monday, March 2nd, covering the trade deadline. Follow me on Twitter at WolfSHC. I'll be covering for SabersHockeyCentral.com if you want to check that out. I'll have retweeting things and talking. If I get any news, I'll let you all know.
Cool.
It's going to be a very busy Monday afternoon for me, for sure. But there's nothing better than the trade deadline, especially being at the arena. I don't have sources. I just follow a lot of people and know who to talk to. So when you get to watch the actual media sitting there typing on their computers, and all of a sudden you see the 4 or 5 beat writers start to scurry a little, you're like,
ooh, what's going on?
Rubbing your hands like, well, what's happening? What's going on? Because deadline day is a lot of fun.
No doubt. We got to get you some sources there.
Got to get some sources. I'm working on it. I'm busting ass on Twitter. People are liking what they get from me on Twitter, and I'm getting busy on the social media, getting busy on Facebook, and then just working my tail off, because that's all I can do.
Cool.
Same thing we do with the podcast.
Right.
Every week. We make it work.
That's right.
I mean, we're yelling at each other in a room.
Sitting very close to each other.
If you could be in this room right now and realize how loud I'm talking at Perez,
yes,
in comparison to how far away he's sitting from me.
Yeah, we're pretty close for how loud he's talking.
I would say probably like 1.5 feet away from each other, and I'm yelling at him. But the thing is, you have a very deep voice, so it gets picked up. My voice is not very deep.
Right.
I apparently have not gone through puberty yet.
It's
so
okay, man.
I just have to yell really loud so I can get the
You'll get there eventually.
When I'm probably 37.
Right.
That's probably the first time I'll be able to grow a beard as well. But when we come back from the commercial break, I've got one question for you, Perez. I don't want to say it now, but it has to do with football.
Okay.
That's how we'll wrap up the podcast.
Sounds good. Hi, Lady Gaga.
Stay tuned. More of the Better Live Than Dead podcast next!
Hey, Don, how's it going?
Living the dream. I'm actually just getting ready to do this commercial.
Oh, you mean the commercial where I tell our listeners to tune into Gear Network every week to listen to our show, Get Ready America? That one?
Yeah, John, that's the one.
They can also listen to us talk about news, sports, whatever's on our minds, that...
And a little what's on our listeners' minds, but they're just too nice to say it.
Well, that, Don, is a real humdinger.
Humdinger.
Come join us this and every week for Get Ready America exclusively on the Gear Radio Network.
And the Gear Network app.
Perez, I must ask you.
What ask me?
How did you do this year in fantasy football?
Man, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, guess what?
I don't want to talk about it, man.
I've got good news for you.
What?
FanDuel
Yes.
allows you to win all that money back that you lost
That's good because I lost a lot of money.
in fantasy football. But here's the catch.
What's the catch?
Fantasy hockey, fantasy basketball, 1 week leagues.
That doesn't sound like a catch to me.
You can win a lot of money.
I like that.
Just like you did with the fantasy football on FanDuel, you can win it with hockey, with basketball. Check it out, GearNetwork.com/FanDuel. You get the money on FanDuel. You help us out over at the Gear Network. We get money, you get money. Everybody's happy, and Perez is happy because he won all that money back from
I'll be real happy with that.
fantasy football, which he lost because, well, Perez is really bad at fantasy football.
Oh, man, don't even talk about it.
A successful product does not become a successful product on its own. Look at the Gear Radio Network, for example. We're a prime example. We had a lot of help getting here, and we can help you get where you want to go to. Advertising rates are very low to start off here on the Gear Radio Network. Visit us at GearNetwork.com. Click on the contact link to send us an email, and we can work out the details. Again, advertise your product across all of the forums at a low, low rate here on the Gear Radio Network.
Back here for football now.
Football?
Thought we would not talk about football until maybe April or May, but something happened this week. Something good happened. Judge in Minnesota rules that Roger Goodell essentially does not know what he's doing,
right,
and he doesn't have the authority to suspend
Adrian
Peterson any longer because he was already suspended once. Can't suspend him again. Now the NFL appealed that ruling, so he's resuspended. He never was actually reinstated. They just said he is set to be reinstated. But here's the deal. Peterson's going to be reinstated in April, I think is what they said. It's like 6 weeks. So right now they're trying to just set a precedent for the future.
Yeah, okay.
Which is ridiculous.
It is.
But the PA has to set a precedent. The NFL tries to set a precedent. So next time this happens, they can say, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
We did this way with Peterson, with Rice. Whatever they do with Greg Hardy will be the same way. But the interesting thing I want to ask you, because now this is the second time in 2 cases that key testimony from Roger Goodell has turned a case against them.
Right. That doesn't look good for Roger Goodell.
Does the National Football League have a Roger Goodell problem developing?
I think at this point, absolutely. I think they do. I think he's starting to lose his grip a little bit. I think there were so many issues this past season of off-field activities that were negative that he doesn't know how to exactly deal with it. I think he's, if you look at other past seasons, Roger Goodell was always there, but he was always in the background. You never really heard much from him, and it ran well. But now there's been issues, and he's been brought to the forefront. It's kind of been a crap show. He's kind of been ridiculous.
Well, we've seen from the start that that Goodell is an owner's commissioner. He'll do whatever he has to do to put the owners first. To make
let me ask you a question. If Roger Goodell's base salary is $3.5 million, okay?
Yes.
And because the NFL is a non-for-profit, he had to get permission from the owners to basically do the other things that he does, appearances and speaking and whatever. And in the last year, he's made $40 million.
It's ridiculous.
Just on that alone.
But I don't have a problem with that. But
so wouldn't you be an owner's?
Well, here's the deal. The reason I say he is an owner's commissioner is since he has come to power in the National Football League, he has expanded the game.
Right.
It made the owners a crap ton of money.
Right.
That's why every time there's a possibility that you could get rid of Goodell, or people will start talking about Goodell leaving, you always bring up the point, well, he's expanded the game.
Right.
Yes, he fumbled the concussion thing.
Yes,
he screwed up the Ray Rice thing. Yes, he screwed up the Adrian Peterson thing.
Right.
Yes, he screwed up the domestic violence thing. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, the commissioner's pockets are getting lined with more greenbacks every single day.
Exactly.
That's all they care about.
Right.
If Goodell wasn't furthering the league and just screwing everything up, he'd have been yesterday's news.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, he's making these guys money, and they can take a black eye here or there because they're a huge, huge, huge company, huge thing, whatever you want to call the NFL. It's a huge deal.
Now, for those of you who wonder why the NFL is considered non-for-profit, it's because the actual NFL itself, the actual oversight company, is the non-for-profit. The teams pay royalties and a commission fee to be part of the NFL. They're for profit. The NFL's not. So
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Break it down for me.
I'll do it next week when we have more time.
Yeah, right now, actually, to break down the fourth wall again, I have to leave my house in 3 minutes.
Yes.
So
hi, Lady Gaga.
Yes, deepest apologies. I hope you accept our apology for this short podcast this week.
Right.
But
it'll be better next week.
It happens. We're always striving to be better. Episode 32 is a short one. I want to say thank you to Canada.
Hi, Canada.
Thank you for listening. Thank you to anybody out there who listens.
Yes. We appreciate it.
That's like on the Sabres I was talking about. It's cool to find people that are listening or tuning in from any other place. I found out a guy from Latvia. I posted something about a guy, Zemgus Girgensons from Latvia. I posted something on Facebook about how he was injured. He'll be back before the end of the season. First comment was a guy from Latvia.
Really?
I thought that was amazing. That's
pretty
blew
cool.
my mind.
No doubt.
Stuff like that I love. So if you're listening from anywhere,
get all your friends
America,
to listen to.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. We'll shout out if you're listening from Iceland or something. We'll learn some Icelandic languages and we'll speak to you.
That's right. That's right. We will.
We are men of the people.
Yeah.
By the people, for the people.
That's right.
I want to say thank you to John, Dawn, Gear Radio Network for letting this happen. Whether you listen on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, PS3, Xbox, your phone,
wherever.
Your iPad, whatever, your iTouch, your iPod, whatever you want to call it. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Now, as we always say.
As for Ryan Wolf.
Well, I was going to say real quick.
Yes.
Like I said, past 2 weeks, I like it. We're going to keep saying it.
Okay.
You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Unless you want to rewind.
You could.
That's true.
Go back and listen to the other podcasts. So
exactly.
that way you can stay here for longer.
That's right.
But no one's going to be here.
Light up a cigar, leaving. Pop some beer.
Yeah, we're leaving here in approximately, 30 seconds or so.
Right.
I am Ryan Wolf.
I'm Mr. Perez.
We are Better Live Than Dead.
You're not.
Saying sorry for the short podcast.
Yes.
We'll be back better than ever.
Next week.
Same time, same place next week.
Hi, Lady Gaga.
Here exclusively on the Gear Radio
Network.
People.